Welcome to our series, Moving America Forward. Each week we'll be focusing on America's entrepreneurs as they take us to new roads, new opportunities, new ways to fill the gaps left by today's failing companies. Our series will be looking at that and a lot more. So come with me and watch as the entrepreneurs of our nation move into the future.
And I'm Doug Llewellyn here in our Los Angeles studios with our guest today, who is Stephen Bighaus, who is a mortgage banker from Everett, Washington. He is a mortgage banker with Security National Mortgage. Nice to have you with us. How are you, Stephen?
Good, Doug. Thank you.
Listen, before we begin in earnest, a little while ago you had a chance to answer some questions from William Shatner. Let's take a quick look at a brief portion of that now and see how it went. Okay? Well, let's watch.
I understand, in a sense, that you've been helping to build America. What kind of products and services do you provide, and how is that moving America forward?
Mr. Shatner, part of the American dream has always been to own your own home. But many individuals want to go further, creating wealth through real estate investing. This allows an individual to build a real estate portfolio, creating passive income to either supplement their existing income or future retirement planning. This is where we come in, as we are the only team in the United States who specialize in providing financing for real estate investors.
You know, that's very interesting what you pointed out to William Shatner, Stephen. Tell me a little bit about some of the major issues that are facing people when they're looking for a mortgage today.
You know, they need to be comfortable with the person they're dealing with on my end, you know, as far as financing goes. Not a lot of people have the experience that I do, and I want to make my customers comfortable with that. The other thing too in that is I think is really important is to share the vision where the customer wants to go to, and understanding that vision, and so being in that same realm with the customer, and then taking the existing mortgage financing rules and regulations, putting that all in place so that they can move forward.
Well, I know you've been in this business a long time. You're very, very experienced in it, and you've partnered with Security National Mortgage. How does that work?
I'm actually an employee of Security National Mortgage, so I work under the umbrella that they provide me as far as products, pricing, and support. And then what I've done is I've created my business as far as where I generate my business from on my own.
Because you can represent people to mortgages from anywhere in the country, basically.
That's absolutely correct.
And you do?
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about how it works. Number one, who are the kinds of people that, you know, what are they looking for, your customers, the clients that come to you?
You know, I'm working anywhere from the entry-level investor to the seasoned investor. So the entry-level investor may be looking for a transition as far as, okay, so maybe I own a primary residence. Maybe I want to build a real estate portfolio. How can you help me? How can you guide me through that maze with real estate financing? And then, you know, the rules allow with Fannie Mae up to 10 financed properties. How do I get there? And then if I want to move on past that, is that possible also?
You know, it's interesting. You mentioned investor right away. So I gather that that's the key part of your business, people who want to invest and buy homes, you know, a number of homes, rather than someone who's looking to buy their own home that they're going to live in primarily. Would that be right? That's
absolutely correct. And that's actually worked against me, because what I've done with my clients, and trust me, I've got a lot of clients, where I've ingrained so much into them with investment property financing. When it comes to financing their primary or maybe buying a vacation home, they never think of me. They think of me as their investment lender.
And you've encouraged them to do this, instructed them that there are ways to do it that they probably hadn't even thought of before that, right?
Absolutely correct.
So I know you've helped a lot of people become, when you really think about it, later on down the road, financially secure so that they can always retire on the work that you've helped them create.
You know, my success is based off my clients' success.
Sure.
And I've got, you know, thousands of clients that I've helped over the years. I mean, give you some examples of some of the things. I mean, we've got a couple of people that came back to me probably 5 years ago. They're both in the ministries. They wanted to buy properties. Today they own, between the two of them, they own 19 properties.
Wow. And obviously the key thing is they didn't have to have a fortune to get into that.
You've got to have cash when you buy investment properties. That goes without saying.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So getting in with little or no money cash. I mean, it can be done, but it's not as prevalent as what it was. So you've got to have some cash, but you don't have to have hundreds of thousands of dollars to get into this. And you mentioned real estate investing. right out the bat, when you think of real estate investors, you think of these big real estate mongols that are buying, you know, the big commercial buildings, multifamily apartments. That's not really where I'm at. I'm with the 1 to 4 family, single family, 2 to 4 units that are affordable for people to get into.
Well, you know, there was a huge upheaval in the financial market and housing, you know, not too many years ago, 2008. Is that over? Is this considered a safe way to invest now?
Well, I think real estate itself, especially right now, and that was a bad period within the mortgage industry. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Right.
But what it's done is it's created an opportunity to create a new breed of investors that, you know, cash flows, you know, passive income, that's the name of the game. It's not about appreciation, it's all about passive income.
So when they come to you, how do you help them? You know, I know, for example, you are willing to obtain a mortgage for sums of money that other mortgage bankers aren't willing to consider primary. And I'm not talking about gigantic, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars involved. I'm talking about $30,000, $40,000 loans, which some other mortgage bankers it's not worth their while. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct in that. Who am I? You know, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, I mean, let's face it, they set the rules that everybody in the nation underwrites to. They'll allow you to go down to a $30,000 mortgage. I mean, I can sell that to Fannie Mae. Who am I when an individual investor wants to go into a market that can buy a house for $50,000, put 20% down, and have a $40,000 mortgage? If that's all their cash flow allows them to buy, why should I be the roadblock standing in front of them? Now, granted, it's not the $30,000 and $40,000 loans. It's not the gist of my loans. I mean, my average loan size is about 80 grand. But I'm still willing to do those smaller loans for the other investors that the big companies don't want to do because they don't look at them as being financially profitable.
And yet there's still just as much work that goes into getting a loan for $30,000 as it is for $130,000, isn't it?
But it's not always about the money. It's about the satisfaction as far as helping people.
Right.
When I can sit back years from now and I just don't make clients, I make friends. And so they look at me as far as, you know, I've provided the knowledge, the path for them to create their retirement planning, their financial independence. I mean, they look back at me. It's a great partnership. You just can't lose in that.
And what kind of properties are you actually talking about for loans that are in the category that, you know, are under $100,000, which is basically what you do?
Yeah, it depends on the market that you go into. I mean, currently right now I'm in 22 different states. And so, you know, let's face it, some states don't fit because the properties are too expensive and they can't cash flow. It costs too much money to get into.
Right.
But they can move into other cities in the South, the Midwest. Properties are more affordable. There's a lower entry point as far as getting in, and it's affordable to them. And they can make the same amount of cash flow.
And you can coach them and teach them on how to do this without the necessity of them being in the area where they're actually buying the home.
Well, the rules themselves that are set are nationwide. It doesn't make any difference if you buy one in California or buy one in New York.
Right.
The rules are all the same. It's just that my job in that as an investor or as a lender is to help coax them through as far as the lending maze. And then, of course, 28 years in the industry and that, sharing some of the wisdom that I have as far as the team they need to form to be successful.
Right.
They can't do everything. I mean, they need a lender, they need possibly an attorney, they need a good accountant, inventory provider, somebody they can buy their inventory from, and of course a property manager.
Let me ask you, have the requirements for getting a mortgage changed much, or it's still as complex as it generally has always been?
You know, I tell people lending now is what it was 20 years ago as far as the way the underwriting goes. Yeah. There's been obviously some advances with automated underwriting systems, collateral assessments, and so there's been a lot of positive things that have helped the mortgage industry expand. But the underwriting criteria in that is still pretty, you know, they're looking at a lot. I mean, we don't want to have a repeat of what we did during the mortgage crisis.
So is it essentially harder to qualify for a mortgage loan today than it was several years ago?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, several years ago we were...
Oh, they were giving them away.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But today, as long as you maintain your credit, you have some cash in the bank, you've got a stable job that's going to support your monthly debt-to-income ratios, right, you're going to qualify.
So that's good to know. Let me ask you about Team Bighaus. That's the team that you've kind of assembled. I know you referred to the kind of people you need if you're in this business. Does that describe Team Bighaus?
Absolutely. I've got the greatest staff that support me in what I do. I'm the only originating loan officer on my staff. And then I've got 3 full-time processors. I've got 3 assistants that help me out. I even brought in my son, who's been with me for 4 years, and my daughter, who just started working with me. And my team is like my family. I mean, I treat them all as such, and we are a great team.
And it's interesting because they're mostly, you're all in an office. I mean, in the same area. Not everybody's out spread all over the country visiting properties and everything like that. You're all right together, right?
Yeah, we are. I mean, we work on a daily basis. 2 of the processors, a couple of times a week, they'll work from home, which is great with technology. I myself, and I like to travel to the markets that I lend into. And so I'm a really hands-on person. I like to know the people that I deal with as far as our inventory providers, talking with appraisers, because we want to have people that are out there that are good seasoned appraisers that are doing the appraisals for our properties.
You know, I mentioned you'd been in this business a long time. You are a seasoned expert in the mortgage industry. Tell me about your background a little bit. How specifically how long have you been doing this?
Well, it's funny because I had a stint in the Air Force for 8 years. Worked security police, and then worked in a special security unit at Air Force headquarters in Germany, which was, Air Force was great. Wasn't good for the family, but it was great and I loved it. Yep. Made the decision to get out in '85. Was always good with numbers. Always thought that the financing side, the mortgage industry, always kind of intrigued me. So I talked with the gentleman in my hometown. He said, go sell real estate for a few years, which I did. He gave me a job and it started there.
So you've been at it at least over 30 years now at this point.
28.
Yeah, okay, pretty close.
Been a long time.
Well, listen, this has been pretty fascinating to hear about. Now you have a website. It's called teambighaus.com, and that's how people get in touch with you. And you work with clients all over the country.
Absolutely correct.
That's pretty amazing. What do you see for the future of your business?
Growth. We continue to look at other markets to expand into.
Yeah.
And basically what I want to do, my vision has always been to be the #1 lender. When people think about real estate financing, they think about Steve Bighaus. That's what I'm looking for.
Very good. That's a good way to put it. Good way to put it. Stephen, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Now it's my honor to present this prestigious award to Stephen Bighaus, a mortgage banker with Security National Mortgage from Everett, Washington. Stephen, it's a pleasure to give this award to you for the outstanding work that your organization is doing to help keep moving America forward.
Thank you, Mr. Llewellyn. And I couldn't be here today if it wasn't for the support that I received with Security National Mortgage. Our Draper region team, obviously the group of people that I work with at Team Bighaus, and of course my wife and family. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
That's it for another edition of Moving America Forward. I'm Bert Tenzer. Join us again as we continue to bring you the entrepreneurs who move America forward.
I'm William Shatner, and for all of us at Moving America Forward, thanks for watching.